Hi and welcome to Smog Vlog. I'm Slack, this is Tony, and that is the XCube 2 from Smog.
Okay, so welcome back. Like we said before, Smok XCube 2. Smok's newest battery on the market. You team it up with the TF-V4 from Smok, you get...
The Millennium, no, not the Millennium. I don't know where the hell that comes from. You get the Cloud Machine.
Cloud Machine.
Motherfucking Cloud Machine.
Anyway, enough of this bullshit. Let's go uppy closey for a quick unboxing.
So let's take a look at unboxing the Smok XCube 2. Before we unbox it, quick tour around the box. So, nice image of the device on the front, Smok logo, the choice between the standard 160 watt or the 160 watt TC on the front. Over the side, details about the XCube 2. On the back we're presented with some tech specs, introduction to the device, which is actually more tech specs, some blurb about Smok and all the good stuff it comes with. Over one more side you've got some QR codes. On the bottom you will see Tony is a bit serial shy and has removed his scratch and sniff. So let's open the box up and take a look inside. Standard Smok box there with the Smok logo and Tony's delicate handiwork there. Some tasty snacks for when you get hungry. Okay, in our goodie bag we have, is it words? We have a serial warranty and manual, one USB charging cable, ooh, one velvety goodness carry case, and some more tasty snacks. Yay! So here's our unit. Let's just hop them out and have a quick tour around the unit itself. The XCube 2 and the 160 watt TC details there. Here, this is your go button, or a go side, go team. Up top we have the plus and minus buttons. We have one screen, 510 connector which is spring loaded. We have some vents on the bottom, USB charger on the bottom. And we come to a rather impressive battery cover. Now this comes off fairly easy despite the two strong magnets holding it in place. But what you're presented with is a string pull for your batteries, which is brilliant. Every device should have one. Also two mega springs for your batteries. They are just awesome. If you could get excited about springs, these are springs to get excited about. Let's chuck some batteries in it and see what it does.
And back in the room. First thing I'm going to say is that Tony fucking lied to me because he's a fucking lying... He just wished something to be true and it is not. You cannot charge via the USB port. It is firmware updates only. So don't listen to that if you heard that. Don't listen to it. This is not a charge via USB device. You're going to need to rip your batteries out and charge them separately.
I apologise, it's firmware only. All I can say is I'm a fucking magpie. I saw a shiny thing, I wanted it.
Yeah, Tony's pretty disappointed that this doesn't charge via USB because he's lazy. He doesn't like taking his batteries out. He just wants...
Slack confuses lazy with efficient.
Yeah, something like that. Anyway, let's have a quick run through the tech specs.
Okay, so first up on the tech specs. The Smok comes in black and silver.
Yeah, and you get a choice apparently between temperature control and the non-TC mods. However, I've not seen a non-TC mod for sale. Doesn't mean to say they don't exist, it says it on the box.
According to the website, the material it's made out of is stainless steel and zinc alloy. So, again, shiny things, magpie, I apologise.
So you've got a working wattage that starts at 6 watts and runs up to 160 watts.
Dimensions of the unit are 100mm by 60mm by 25mm, height, width and depth.
Yeah, it's a fairly chunky unit, as you probably saw in my hand. It's a good size.
As with most recent mods, 510 thread and it's sprung loaded. I don't know if it's stainless steel though. It looks like it's stainless steel. I'm going to go out on a limb and say it's stainless steel.
So it's got Bluetooth built in, BLE, which means you're going to be able to connect to your Android 4.3 device or your iOS 7 device. However, no Windows Phone support. Thanks, Smok.
Okay, the device comes fitted with an OLED screen, which is fairly bright.
And the LED down the side of the go button, you can customise the colours, and they reckon it runs up to 16 million colours. However, realistically, there's going to be about 10 different ones that you're going to be able to see.
Max output power is up to 160 watts. Okay, so temperature control on the unit operates from 200 degrees Fahrenheit to 600 degrees Fahrenheit, or
that's 100 degrees centigrade through to 315 centigrade.
And variable wattage mode resistance ranges from 0.1 ohm up to 3 ohm.
Whereas temp control resistance ranges from 0.08 ohms up to the 3 ohms. The unit comes built in with short circuit protection and discharge protection.
And we're back in the room.
Okay, so I mean, the unit itself is a good size. It's quite a comfortable fit in the hand, though it is big and heavy. If you've got small hands or particularly weak, maybe this isn't the one for you. But in terms of actual operation of the device, you know, actually taking a hit on it, it's really comfy. I like it. You know, the big button feels good. The flashy light on the side is really cool.
Okay, he'll just stop talking and take a hit.
Yeah, how could I refuse? It was right there. I mean,
beckoning.
That's it. When it's in your hand, you really know it's there. It feels good in the hand. Let's take an up-close look at the button pushes. Let's take a look at the operation of the buttons. So this is your go button. Press and hold and away you go. The whole side is a button. It's pretty cool. You have your plus and minus buttons and obviously your display screen up here. You can flip it over so your screen is visible while you're vaping, and it will flip the buttons over as well. So the first thing you're going to want to know is how to lock the device so you're not accidentally firing it. What you're going to want to do is 5 quick pushes on the go button, and that will give you the lock icon. Another 5 and we're unlocked, ready for operation. Obviously once you're unlocked, you'll be able to adjust the wattage if you're in watts mode. Now one thing I do quite like about this is the ramp up that you see there, where it's not going to take you all day to get from your 160 to your 140. I'm going to turn that down before something bad happens. Okay, so to access the menu, it's 3 clicks of the go button. Now in the menu, just a single click of the go button to cycle through all of the options. The first option is Bluetooth. Press and hold the button and you go in, and again a single click, quick click will cycle through your available options. We don't need this right now, so we'll save some battery and turn it off. 3 clicks again and we're back in the menu. This time we'll go through our mode. So you have the option for wattage mode. Within wattage mode you can then adjust whether you want it normal, hard, soft, max, etc. I'm just going to stick with normal for now. Look at the other modes. So another 3 clicks. Back into mode. So you also have temp mode. Press and hold. And again, whether you want temp, normal, hard, soft, etc. Again, we'll just stick with normal. Within there you tell it also what type of coil you have fitted. You can also set the resistance of the coil, whether it's a single coil or a dual coil. Okay, next mode up is memory mode. Let's press and go in here. Again, you have your normal options of
setting. Here we see our various memories. There are 16 memories, each assigned a wattage. Select to go in there. You have 16 profiles that you can set up. Okay, I've just whacked it back into wattage mode. 3 clicks and we'll have a look at our next item, which is the LED control, and within here you can adjust colouring, whether it's on and off, how fast it cycles through, stuff like that. We'll turn jump on and fast. I quite like the disco effect. Obviously some people are going to hate this, it's a bit of a Marmite feature, but I really like it. I'm into tacky crap. Next mode up is the puff counter. Here you can control and reset your puff count and stuff. Not a feature I personally have any interest in. I vape as much as I want, and that does me. Okay, we come to the next of our menu options now, which is the settings. In here we'll have a look at the screen time. Here's where we activate stealth mode and also our screen time. So we'll say stealth off, and the screen time we want to be 60 seconds. That sounds good to me. The next option we've got within settings is the screen lock time. You can turn it for auto locks on and off. So if you don't use it, it will lock itself. Then we have our contrast option, which basically changes your screen brightness effectively. This is our screen orientation, which we'll leave it normal for now. However, I do like that as a feature. Next up in the options is the date and time option, so I'll just cycle through quickly. This is where you configure the date and time. No shit, Sherlock. Next up in settings is the resistance lock effectively. Adjust ohms. Here you can manually adjust your initial ohms. However, not going to fiddle about with that one. And our final option in settings is our download option, which we'll run through later. That brings us to the last menu item, which is the power options. One thing to talk about is the battery cover and how loose it is. When you hold it in your hand like this, you're effectively holding the battery cover in place and it's not a problem. However, it's quite easy to hold the unit round the wrong way. It's quite comfortable. You see the screen at default and you press it with this. It works perfectly. However, what I've found is that as I'm gripping it, I end up a little bit. The battery cover hasn't ever fallen off, but it does pull away. A lot of people are complaining about this battery cover. It could definitely be a lot better. So inside we have these magnets here. They don't really meet, there's a bit too much room. You would want to do something in here if it's going to bother you. Personally, it doesn't bother me enough to warrant it, but it's something to be aware of. One last thing to be aware of is obviously the batteries don't fit in the same way round, which is fine, but just something to be aware of. So you go, I'll do that. Another thing, this quite easily gets swallowed up when fitting, so put a finger over it while you put your last battery in, and jobs are good. So once you've got your device set up with all your weird and wonderful settings, the main stuff you're going to be able to do just for a few clicks. So we're currently in temperature control mode. You can adjust your temperature with the plus and minus buttons exactly like you would expect. If you want to change the sort of ramp up on that, you press the plus and go button at the same time. You cycle through your various strengths, they call it. I'm going to leave it on normal. If you wanted to change mode, you can quickly do so with the negative key and the go button at the same time. So we can go to memory mode and wattage mode.
Yep, so that's the button pushes done. It's pretty simple. I find the menu a little bit cumbersome to navigate with this giant button, and you press it so many times. It's like one of them hand grip things that you see that everyone owns but no one actually uses. However, you know, you have full access to stuff on your device, which is pretty cool.
It's cool, vaping and exercising at the same time. I'm totally up for that. Anyway. Alright guys, we're going to take you through a very quick firmware update now.
Using the firmware USB port.
Fucking USB port.
Okay, so let's take a look at upgrading the firmware on the Smok XCube 2. So the first thing I want to do is go over to Smok's website. Here's the latest news. Within here you'll find a link to their BEC Software and instructions on how to do it. So we're just going to download that quickly now. Okay, so that's downloaded. Okay, so having already downloaded the XCube firmware tool, I'm just going to run that here. As you can see, Bitdefender has decided it wants to block this as suspicious. We're going to need to go ahead and unblock that. Okay, your first step is to see what the latest version of the firmware is. So you hit the check new version button. That's going to connect to the internet and pull down the latest version available. The next step would be on your device itself to find out what version you're currently running. If you power the device off, then power it back on its boot it will tell you in the bottom in small writing what version number you're on. We're on 1.08 on our unit, so we do need an upgrade. Next step, you're going to need to remove the batteries from your device. Hold down the go button for the entire time of this, we recommend, and connect it via USB. So we're keeping the go button held down. We're going to tell it to connect now. And that gives us the option to do the upgrade. And off we go. And simple as that, it's done.
Yeah, so it's worth keeping your firmware up to date. There's been a lot of advances since when the unit first came out. It's changed the way you can do the menu stuff. You're going to be able to change the profile. You know, keep on top of your firmware. It's best practice. While you may think that, yeah, it's working fine for me, I don't need to, you might get extra features. So yeah, if you do own it, just keep an eye on it.
Okay, next up on this world wizard tour of this bloody device that does fucking everything apart from USB charging. God damn it, Smok. Next up, we've got, what is it? BEC.
Smart BEC by
BEC.
Smok. Yeah.
Smart BEC by Smok.
Okay, next up, let's take a look at the Smart BEC app from Smok. So you're going to want to turn on Bluetooth on your device. So it's 3 clicks in there. Turn Bluetooth on. That's that bit done. We'll just move him over to the side. Then we're going to come in and launch Smart BEC. Here, I've got Bluetooth running on my phone, obviously. So I've already named this, as you can see. We're going to click and connect. It would similarly find it if you hadn't already sort of named it. It gives you a default password, which I've currently left it at. And we're in. Okay, on this screen, this is going to give you a sort of real-time reading as you use the device. So it gives you a view of your hit. While we're talking about views of hits, if you come down here, you actually sort of get a puff count. If we go back here, we get a hit log. So this should be the hit I just took. It gives you for each second the various sort of readings that it was getting. From in the Smart BEC menu, you also have the option to change from temperature mode, variable mode or custom power mode, etc. Change your hit. Also to tell it what type of coil you're using.
Yeah, so while I've been testing the device, I've been using the Smart BEC application. It sort of does most things that you would want to do. It's a little bit clunky, but it's quite nice to have the option, you know, to sort of go above and beyond just having the screen. Once you've got the device set up, unless you're someone who's going to be routinely monitoring each puff you take, I don't really see that much use for it, but it's a nice addition. Too much stuff is never a bad thing.
Okay guys, we're going to talk about temperature control now. We've got it fitted with an iJust 2 only because we've got TC cores for that. We've also been doing a lot of the review with the TFV4, making the whole cloud machine, Millennium, whatever. Anyway, Slack, take over.
Yeah, okay, so the way this TC is implemented is really good. I don't know if I would say it's on par with the DNA 200. I think you get a bit more control and a bit more precision with the DNA 200. However, it is a really, really good implementation of temperature control. What you do is you set your temperature and it's just going to sort of kill the power and sort of fire it on and off to sort of get you going. I've got it set really low now, we've got 120, and I would just be able to take a drag on that the whole time. The temperature would remain nice and constant, cuts the power as appropriate. Yeah, I like it.
And without a word of warning, he just goes in for a drag. Just straight away. No care for anyone else in the room.
I mean, yeah, 120, really, really cool vape. What you couldn't see on screen there is just coming up temp protected where it cuts the power. You've also got, similar to the DNA 200 device, your sort of ramp up profiles. You know, currently I've got this set to normal. You can have a harder sort of first bit. It's pretty cool. I quite like the normal sort of standard middle of the road with a bit of ramp up but not too much. Everyone's going to be different, but there will be something that will suit your, you know, need in here.
Okay, going back to temperature control and what Slack was saying about the evolved DNA 200 chips, level of control over how they use it and how different this is. Yes, it's a lot simpler, but that actually appeals to me more than H-Cigar. Well, we've seen it on the H-Cigar, but Evolves and DNA 200 devices. I personally feel that is probably better for me, because I don't want to be using a fucking PC and doing all of this and, you know, fucking about.
Personally, I would take the PC over this one any day, just for the sheer faff of going through the menus, adjusting your settings. But yeah, once it's set up, it's kind of irrelevant. No matter how you set it up, it's a bit of a faff. PC or you know, awkward button clicks on the device there. Smart BEC makes it a bit easier.
It's just another demonstration of how we are two different people, because I will go through those settings on the thing, do it once and then never fucking touch it again, as opposed to being able to see it on a PC and adjusting it.
I'm a fiddler, yeah.
Yeah, he is.
Yeah, I like to fiddle. I wouldn't keep the same TC settings for an hour, let alone for, you know, a day or a week or something, whereas Tony is probably set up once and yeah, that would do.
Absolutely, you find the fucking sweet spot, it fucking stays there for eternity.
Yeah, but to me, the sweet spot is based around what I want, and what I want is constantly changing. So I think, yeah, horses for courses. So yeah, the temp control on it, it's really good, it's really reliable. I haven't had too many wonky, you know, attempts with it. So yeah, I am impressed. I'm definitely impressed. Okay, so I'm just going to fit up Tugboat on here. I've just hit the go button so it knows that I've taken the atomizer off, because occasionally it can get caught out when you swap atomizer. It's supposed to know. But if you fire it without one, then it knows that it certainly has one. It's asking me if I fitted a new coil, so I'm going to say yes. Okay, so I just chucked it on 80 to give it a blast with a dripper. Yeah, well, it's good. The power delivery is really smooth. I've got it on normal. You can change the ramp up on normal Canthal. You know, it's not just TC where you change that ramp up. But again, normal is about right for me, and that's good power delivery there.
Oh yeah, lovely.
Yeah, and we've been using it a lot over the last week or so with tanks, all different tanks, and we've not had a problem with anything. I have read reports, I heard someone, maybe Rip Trippers, had said that there's been connection issues with the various tanks or drippers on this device. I can say that we've tried everything we have, and not one thing has had a connection issue. So I'm not sure if he had a dodgy unit or whether there's some misinformation going on, Chinese whispers, something like that. But we haven't had a problem with connecting anything to it. I think we're going to throw a bit of Godzilla on this bad boy just to see what it can do.
Godzilla!
Godzilla. So, Godzilla is just slightly bigger than this already big battery unit. Godzilla is already juicy. We've still got our 22 gauge coils in this. I am just going to ramp the power up straight away. I think we'll start at 100 watts for this.
Smooth.
Is it a new coil?
New coil up, same down?
Okay, we're going to start at 100 watts for this. Let's give it a blast.
Kicks into life. Sounds a bit angry.
That sounds well angry, but
As-
that is powerful.
As Godzilla does.
Yeah, he's an angry beast. Yeah, again, power delivery from the unit, Godzilla and the crap flavour inside, aside, the power delivery of that unit at 100 watts is great.
Whoa. Yeah, no, the vapour isn't too hot. It's
Yeah,
delivering as it should.
Yeah, the ramp up is just performs well. Okay, so yeah, using this, it is a pretty decent mod. Let's talk about some cons though. Tony?
USB, I've said it many times. Had I have known beforehand, I might not have got this mod.
Yeah, see, it doesn't bother me popping the batteries out to charge it. I prefer doing that, you know, but yeah, it is an inconvenience rather than just plugging a USB cable in. I certainly agree with that.
My argument has been time and again, what would you prefer, popping batteries out, recharging them, or actually having a way to charge them in the device as they should be charged by a charger? As soon as a manufacturer out there comes out with a way to charge the batteries in the mod, the same way like a Nightcore charger would do it, that's it. You've got your mod for a long time.
Yeah, I guess the offset is that the batteries are really easy to change, you know, they're just there, pop and you go. So if you're going to be out for a couple of days and you've got a spare set of batteries, you'll be able to actually just swap batteries on the go, so that's a plus. Because if it was a sealed unit, you wouldn't be able to swap batteries.
Yeah,
so pros and cons there, but I agree with Tony, I would like a USB charging. So yeah, on the flip side of that though is the battery door. There you go. Everyone hates it. Now, it's not actually flown off, apart from when I've been titting about with it. So, you know, I'm not actually worried about that. But I find there's two ways to hold this: in your hand that way, in your hand round the other way. And if I'm round the other way, this way it actually feels probably the best for me, having the button at the back. But yeah, you're constantly opening the unit with your hand. There's a lot of people who've done ghetto fixes out there to sort of stop this, you know, putting a bit of rubber in there, stuff like that. If it was my unit, I might look at doing it, but it works perfectly. It fits fairly well. It does lip out a tiny bit, but yeah, it's just a bit annoying.
The noise that it makes sounding like a gun cartridge reloading, I don't know. Yeah, I'd probably do that to fuck people off around me.
Yeah, I did find myself just clicking it back and forth,
Yeah.
you know, just because it was there. But yeah, I suppose it would have been nicer to have as easily accessible batteries, but just something that's a little bit more solid in your hand.
If they had the magnets from the iStick 100 watt, I think they've probably been on a bit of a winner with that.
Yeah, I mean the magnets don't really get close enough to make contact, so you know it may be possible to just sort of add an additional magnet in there to help hold it, or swap one out or something. But yeah, I'm not going to get into ghetto fixes here. But if it's something that annoys you, there's enough room to get in there and fix it. Next up, I suppose the size and weight of the unit could be a con. It's alright, I don't mind it, but you certainly know you've got it in your hand, you know. And again, this could be a pro or a con, because it's alright most of the time, but when you're trying to, like, I end up like trying to refill a dripper and try to do it all one-handed, it's a bit awkward, a bit heavy to hold, but at the same time it's a big unit, feels good in your hand. The one thing I don't like is where it starts getting a bit heavy, it's got shiny sides and it wants to be a bit slippery. You end up with your little finger trying to come underneath it, which works, but the sides are rough, it's uncomfortable, hurts your knuckles. But yeah, size and weight may be an issue for some people. For me, it's noticeable, but I don't know that I would necessarily call it a full-on con, but it's just something to consider.
Me personally, I don't mind the size, the weight, the texture of it. I think the finish on it is absolutely fucking beautiful.
Looks great.
Absolutely spot on.
Yeah.
Weight is fine. I mean, it's got two 18650s in it and all the gubbins to do all that fancy shit. I mean, those Bluetooth units don't come light either.
Okay, and while we're talking about the 18650s, I mean, I guess this is going to be another con. You're going to have to pay out for a pair of batteries to go in here. You're going to want decent batteries because it goes up to 160 watts, so you ideally going to want about 25 amp and up batteries. You probably get away with 20 amps, but you know, the better batteries you get, the safer you're going to be. So you're going to have to pay out for that. And you're going to need to pay out for an extra external battery charger as well. So do remember to factor that in if you're considering buying this and you don't already have all of that stuff.
Another con that I've just thought of, going back to the battery door, not necessarily the weakness of the magnets holding it on there, but the fact that the door on the unit that I've got at least doesn't marry up to the rest of the body of the unit, so you can actually see right the way through. Bit shit, Smok. Smoke, bit shit.
Now the last thing I suppose that needs to go on the cons list is the button, the giant fire button. I freaking love this for when you're actually holding it in your hand already and you go vape it. It feels really good. You've got just massive grip. It's brilliant. That is really cool. However, what is not cool is everything that isn't holding it in your hand using it. So for instance, I was in the car, I put it down in the drink holder next to me where I always put my devices, went round a bit of a corner, the button's pressed itself, it's just started fizzing up next to me. That's annoying. Okay, yes, you can get around that with a lock, but you know, it's just a problem you have to be aware of with having this giant button. The next thing is when you sort of pick the unit up, it's quite easy to accidentally fire it if it's unlocked, if you hand it over to someone, especially due to the weight of the device. This is not like a little light and feathery thing, you need to get a good hold. And so when you get that good hold, like I've taken it from Tony, I've set the thing off. It's not the end of the world, but it's not perfect from that point of view. Usage, yeah, it's great, but everything else around that. Actually, while we're talking around that, using this massive button to navigate the menus is a fucking ball ache. Just, it's such a big press. It is like the hand workout. And I don't know whether that's just because I've been overusing it more than I would on a general day-to-day thing to get ready for this video. But yeah, I just found it frustrating. I guess if you're occasionally going in the menu, that's probably fine. But if you're going through there a lot, I'm sure you'll end up agreeing that it's just a pain in the arse. However, flip side to that, it is good to have all of your commands, controls on the unit without having to rely on the software, like Tony pointed out.
Oh, fucking hell, we've flip-flopped all over the place there, right? Anyway, what I've got to say is, the button push is fucking awesome, okay? It will work from any corner and it will fire. Yeah, alright, you hand it over to someone, it will accidentally fire a little bit, it's in the car, whatever. It doesn't matter. Having that button push down the entire side of the unit, it just feels fucking brilliant.
Yeah, it really does. When you're actually vaping it, that is awesome. I guess, yeah, Tony raving about how awesome the button is, which it really is for using it. It's a cool feature. And the light down the side, I love that. I have it generally on the Mega Disco Flash, which is freaking brilliant. The only problem at night is that it's quite bright. You don't realise it in like a lit room how bright that is. If you're in the dark and you exhale and you still vape about, you get blinded by disco lights, you know. So it's pretty cool, but you know, it's definitely noticeable. The light's not going to be to everyone's taste. You know, there's going to be a very Marmite feature as well, like the button. But yeah, I really like the light. That's really cool.
The implementation of temper control on it is yeah, brilliant. It works so well, so well. I haven't had a problem with it at all, and I've vaped down on a tank, and it's worked admirably. So yeah.
Yeah, another thing that's good is the amount of firmware that's coming out with this, the changes they're doing with it. I think that's really good and very important for this type of unit to sort of like, you know, keep it relevant and keep on top of everything. So that's credit to Smog.
Yeah, I mean, with so many different temperature control coils coming out, they're bringing sort of like titanium out. The software update that the firmware update that we just did on it earlier was to include the titanium wires. So, yeah, they're investing a lot in this unit.
I guess, you know, flip side, we've already mentioned this as well, because it's kind of everything that is a con is also a pro. So Tony doesn't like the no USB charging, but the ability to swap batteries, I think that's pretty cool to have that option. Battery life in this unit is alright. It runs at about a day. That's on non-TC mode. You'll obviously extend that with TC as it kills the power for each hit, you know. But yeah, getting about a day from my batteries is pretty good, considering the size of the unit, how I've been firing it at high wattage and messing about a lot with Bluetooth. So yeah, that's a pro, definitely. And I suppose another pro is going to be the price of the unit. If you've already got the 18650s and you've already got a charger, then this unit is going to cost you less than 60 quid from most places over here. I've seen it $60 in America, you know, it is cheap unit. But for that cheap unit, you get 160 watts of power, a really solid unit, Bluetooth, you know, so many features packed into there, and possibly more to come with the future firmware updates. So value for money, this thing is phenomenal. So yeah, Tone, how much did you pay and where did you get it from?
Okay, it cost 60 quid. It came from a site called eSig1. I don't know about a discount code.
We'll find out.
We'll do what we usually do down here. If it is. If not, there's nothing.
Oh, there is.
There probably is.
There is.
We're quite frugal.
Definitely. Okay, so that concludes our review of the fairly meaty Smok XCube 2.
Don't forget to like and subscribe if you think we're doing a good job on this, and leave us a comment down below because we're quite chatty, or at least we try to be. Also follow us on Facebook and Twitter because we do that shit, and also Instagram now as well, which we're trying to do. Anyway guys, that's enough from us and the Smok XCube 2. Thanks for watching.
You're going to get your chap out then?
Hoping or wishing?
I thought.
Yeah.
Hoping and wishing are kind of the same thing.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
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 Okay guys, let's take you through a firmware upgrade.
Stop.
Oh shit.
Oh shit. I was like really trying not to laugh when you started.
Suck it in. Suck it in.
Come on. Yeah, so with testing the device, I found.
He found that.
I found
Alright.
bad.
Give me all your picnic baskets.
A picnic basket? Yep.
Okay guys.
It's really useful. It's been a long day. But yeah, there's temps control. Right, back in the room. Oh god.
The fact you hold it up trying to to persevere on, even though you yourself are still laughing.
Do this. I can do this. It helps. It's like Dumbo with his feather, man. I can fly.
Cheeky little number he likes to call tugboat.
What up, tugboat?
Toot toot.
Don't be tooting in there.
Toot. Oh shit. No, I'll just put that back then.
Put it through the hole. Like, originally I wasn't putting it all the way in, I was just doing it a bit, but then, yeah, all the way in there. All the way in there.
But you tell her it's just the tip, right?
Just the tip.
Just the tip.
Just the tip.
Ah.
If you're feeling brave, you can take the first half. Okay, so that was our review of the Smok XCube 2.
Oh right, that's right. Okay, if we could just have that one more time, that would be great.
Hump.